welcome America to a very unique Angel in the Wiz, where you're going to learn about something you didn't know anything about. Talk about that because I never heard about it in my life is cat anxiety medicine. What?
Yes. I have.
You don't go to a shrink or something. The cat.
No, first of all, I have 6 cats.
Okay.
Their names, I do. Let me tell you their names. Single white female high school math teacher. I'm a crazy cat lady. Yes. Now that we've gotten it all out of the system.
Okay, we've established.
I've established that.
Your bona fides.
Crazy cat lady. Their names are Gandalf, Manny,
Right.
Lucy, Callie, Boma, and Gato.
That's for the Hispanic boat?
That's the Hispanic
Okay.
vote. Yes.
Is that 5 or 6?
That's 6.
Okay, what did I miss?
Gandalf,
Right,
Manny,
right,
Lucy,
right,
Callie,
right,
Boma,
and
Gato.
okay, very good. What does that stand for? Anything? What is it normally? What would it be in English?
Gato is cat.
Oh.
I got him from a lady who only spoke Spanish at home. That what I found was the most intriguing thing.
Okay.
Is that animals learn the language of their owners.
Oh,
So
yes.
this cat came to me. The cat got feline AIDS.
Wow.
And
Feline AIDS?
Yes.
Feline AIDS.
Yes.
I thought I wasn't ready for the stress part or the anxiety part. I certainly wasn't ready for feline AIDS.
I've got
AIDS in cats?
Yes, sir. So
Oh, boy.
it will kill him eventually. If
Oh,
you
great.
if you bring an animal, a cat with feline AIDS or feline leukemia,
Right.
or another disease called FIP. I
Right.
don't know what all that stands. The feline something. I don't remember
Okay.
what that one stands for. If you bring cats with those diseases that test positive for those diseases to animal shelters, they're euthanized immediately,
Oh, that's not
regardless
good.
of age.
Okay.
So
Oh, I could tell you such a sad story, but I'm not going to.
don't.
Go ahead.
So Gato lived with a lady who only spoke. She spoke English, but she only spoke Spanish at her
To the
home-
cats.
At her home,
Right.
with her family, and they had to move into an apartment where no pets were allowed, and it was one that they could afford.
Okay.
So she had to get rid of the cat, knowing that it was had the FIV disease, the feline
Okay.
AIDS. So
Okay.
instead of taking it to a shelter or a vet and euthanizing it, she the vet contacted me to ask if I would take the cat in because I specialize in dealing with special needs cats.
Okay. She is a cat rescuer.
I am. And so he only understands Spanish. He's learning English, but he only understands Spanish.
The cat is learning English.
Yes, I have an ESOL cat.
What's that mean?
That's it. For all you teachers out there, have an ESOL cat.
It's English as a second language?
Yeah, English speakers of other languages is what it stands for in Florida.
I'm really glad I had cocktails today.
Good.
I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Now, wait a Now, is this the one that has anxieties?
No.
Oh, God.
I have 2 cats. I have 2 cats that have seizures.
Seizures? Like seizures? Like what? Like epilepsy? Is type of
Full-out
episode?
seizures. One of them, Manny, when I rescued him, he had he clearly was hit by some car or vehicle because he's
Okay.
got a very bad limp. His head is
Right.
tilted to one side, so he will have seizures as a result of those injuries.
Okay.
Then I have Gandalf, who was recently diagnosed with epilepsy, idiopathic epilepsy. So he's epileptic, and we don't know why. They ran a full battery of tests to make sure it wasn't a bunch of different diseases that could have caused it. So he had a couple bad seizures. His best was he went 13 days no seizures.
That's the longest?
That's the longest he's gone since.
How long have you
January.
had him?
I've had him for 3 years.
You've had him for 3 years and he
No,
hasn't gone
this is-
13 days?
No, this was he was diagnosed with epilepsy in January. So this year. So since January,
Okay.
he hasn't. The longest he's gone without having a seizure is 13 days.
Okay, 2 questions. One, how long is a seizure?
It varies. It could be seconds to a couple minutes.
Okay. 2, and what were these seizures doing? Waiting? This is something that could just happen after 2
It's
years?
usually started by some sort of trauma.
But he was with you for 3 years.
He was. It might have been. He happened to have a episode where he was. I was sick. I was really, really sick. So my mom had to come down
Okay.
to take care of me because I lived by myself and nobody was able to take care of me.
Right.
So my mom came down, and in the midst of my mom trying to take care of me and take care of 6 cats that she wasn't familiar with, Gandalf inadvertently got locked into the garage for a couple hours. And I realized I always, whenever I have visitors in the house, I always do a head count of my cats about once an hour to make sure that all 6 of them are there.
Right.
And I didn't notice him, so I went to find him, and he was in the garage. And he must have gotten into something
Right.
that didn't agree with his stomach, and that could have triggered it. Maybe hit his head
Right.
and caused a bruising on his brain or something, or climbed. He's never was a good climber,
Right.
so he might have climbed up on something and then fell down and hit his head.
Right.
But there was no signs of trauma when they had to do the MRI
Right.
on him. Yes, I had a cat get an MRI.
You must be really a fascinating person to visit. Just a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to check the cats.
No, I don't. They're there. I've had people have witnessed the cats having seizures, and it freaks them out a little, quite a bit.
Well,
It's a very messy thing too, especially when
they
Gandalf has
expel?
Yeah, because they lose control of their urination.
Oh, great.
Gandalf loses control of urination. When Manny has a seizure, those happen so infrequently that they'll be, he loses control of everything. But when Gandalf has one, he goes he starts to walk in a circle
Right.
and drool, and then
Is that like a heads up to you that it's coming?
yeah, and
Okay.
but then it switches so fast that he falls onto his side and does this full blown out shaking. That's where he loses control of his urination.
Right.
But then he shakes in a circle, so he ends up being covered in his own urine. And often I end up being covered in the urine as well, because you have to step in it to stop. Because you have to talk them out of it, like a human. It's just like a human. When a human has a seizure, you have to.
I've never been involved with anybody that has seizures, so I don't know that process.
When humans have seizures, the best thing to do is to talk to them in a very calm, cool, collected voice.
Pull them out.
To pull them out. And often you have to touch. Sometimes you can touch them. Sometimes if they become sensitive to the touch. With Gandalf, I actually have to hold him down, so he doesn't continue to shake and hurt himself, because unlike humans where they often can sense it's coming on and get to a safer place, the cats might try to, they don't understand what's going on, so you have to hold them
They
down.
don't know words. Of course, you can't explain to them this.
So,
But I'm sure that they can tell. I got to say something. I
Cat
have
101.
to say this.
yeah.
Because, you've been doing the show with me for like 4 or 5 months or whatever it is,
Uh-huh.
how long? And you've always been here, you've always been dependable, you're always right on time and everything else. And you have a whole life, you're a young person, you're very active, and you have a lot of things going on in your life. And I was always impressed with that. I was really impressed today that you actually turned down work as a cancer, to come do the show. But
Let me explain that comment, America. I got a
Okay.
phone call from a
The place
job,
we
the
work.
mutual place that
Right.
we both work, and they said, "Hey, can you come in?" And I said, "Nope,
I have
I
to shoot."
can't. I have to go shoot Angel in the Wiz."
Isn't
and
that
they went,
beautiful?
They went, "Oh."
She understood, right?
Yeah.
Of course she understood.
They
She didn't want to
understood.
hear it, though.
They didn't like this. They're desperate when they call me, 'cause I only work 1 day a week, and I always turn them down anyway.
Right. But now the reason, me too. They don't, But I have a really great relationship with work now, because they know that I'm willing to take a hit for the team if they need someone to go home early. They can call me and I will leave and get off the labor. But I wanted to say something. All kidding aside, believe me, trust me, we have a lot of different people, not to watch this show, but there are a lot of different people
Yeah.
in the world who would think you're absolutely nuts for putting up with that. Just kill them all and get new safe cats.
People think
But
that.
there are other people that have to think you have such a wonderful heart to give these animals life. Now, and the reason I appreciate it is because I had a dog one time, an Akita, that had been given out from a rescue from a place, and this dog was dangerous, and he bit somebody and everything else, and they brought him in, and they were going to kill him. Now, my mother-in-law, who knows we're set up, had the guy bring the dog in, carrying him in his arms, cute little wonderful Akita, right? Now, you're never going to convince me she didn't think we were going to take that dog. Okay? But that dog got a few more years of life because we did
Yeah.
take him.
That's
Okay.
kind of how I look at it with the animals,
You
is
know.
that even though these cats have lives that have been shortened by their disabilities, they are having a very healthy life as it is, and I will do what I can to make sure that they stay well.
Yeah, but that shows you have a good heart. Well, I mean, I'm not.
And you can see it in their eyes too, that they're very happy. Especially like Gato, he came in. He was when Gato lived with the family. It was him and a dog, and his owner literally brought him into the house, said goodbye to him, stayed for maybe about 20 minutes,
Right,
but
and
said
left.
goodbye and left.
Oh, wow.
You know, and so the cat was 2 years old. The one home he knew, he was rapidly pulled out of and dropped off. And it's just like being orphaned, you know? And not only that is that you come in and there's
A dog.
well, you know, this cat comes into my home. I don't speak the same. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. Plus, there's 5 other animals.
How
5
long
other cats.
How long was he in the transition home with the dog?
That was his permanent home.
Okay.
That was where he was, and that lady, they couldn't take the dog or the cat.
She was the one that dropped
So
them off
she
for an
dropped
hour and
them
left.
off.
Okay.
Yeah, she just dropped them off and left. She took the dog somewhere else or to a shelter. I don't know where she took the dog, but
Right.
but the cat, she had to give the cat to a home right away. So Gato spent a good 3 weeks in a bedroom in the house by himself, because you have to socialize the cat. The cat's never socialized with other cats.
Right.
So you have to socialize him, and that's a very hard process because cats are very territorial, and they
Right.
always have to have there's always a dominant cat in the
Right.
pack.
Right.
And in my cat's eyes, I am the dominant cat.
Okay, gotcha.
And that hadn't been established with Gato.
Okay.
He wanted, so it was a very long process.
Can I tell
And
you?
he's still being transitioned in.
How long has he been with you now?
He's been with me for about 3 months.
Okay.
4
Still-
months.
still
about
early
4
on,
months.
early on.
I don't remember how long. It seems like forever now, but it's interesting to watch what he does. I have a harness that I use on them,
Okay.
so it's like
Now,
it's
now,
like
how
a
do you mean?
punishment.
Oh,
it's
if
like
they're
a
bad?
Yeah, well, no, it's like a harness that you could put a leash on and walk him
Okay.
if I wanted to. But what that does is give me another place to grip him.
Okay.
It's because of the way it sits on him, it restricts his head movement,
Right.
so he can't bite me
Right.
out of frustration like he normally would, and so I
Okay.
can have more control. And that's been helping a whole lot in the household.
And let me share with you, when we had to leave Citrus County and come down here to where we are now, we had 2 cats. Now, you know me long enough to know I'm basically a mush burger. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not. This is not me.
You want another cat?
No,
You
no.
got
the-
though.
but no. The story, but the story is we had 2 cats, and they couldn't come.
That's
And fortunately, Tina found a cattery where she was doing a TV show, and she was very familiar with these people, and the cats went there. But I have to tell you, when I watched Bolt, and that cat sat there
Yeah, and it cried.
and talked about
I
how
cried.
they left, I did too. It hurt me
I
so big,
cried.
and I felt so incredibly bad
Yeah.
about leaving the cat because I loved them and they were, you know what I mean? I mean, it
feel
was very,
horrible.
very
I cried.
hard, very hard.
That's the only part I cried in that whole movie. Oh, the cat!
Right.
I even called up my friend in China, and I was like, "This is the cat!" And he's like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "You just got us the movie."
Yeah, man, the way she describes it,
Yeah.
and they just leave you, and you find out, and you don't know what you did wrong, and oh God,
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. I'm sitting over there, I couldn't watch it. It was too much. I'm one of these people that has to have his own personalized copy of Bambi, without the one word, mother. Okay, because I can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when she was sitting there and telling, see Bolt. If you're a pet owner,
It's really
see
it's a pretty
Bolt.
good
Bolt
movie.
is a great film. It's got a great song in the middle, about the home you live. It's a great song. But I mean, it's a great movie, but let me just warn you, When you hear, what's the cat's name? Do you remember the cat's name?
Mittens.
Mittens. And that was my cat's name. I had no chance. I had no chance. When you hear Mittens tell her story about how she got left behind, you will never, ever leave an animal behind
it's
again.
so sad.
Because I couldn't do it now.
No.
I couldn't.
I couldn't.
After I heard her talking about that, and they take your,
I will have to choose where I live next
based on the cat.
based on two things. Based on two major things. Number one, where the vets are, because because the cat, I have a 24-hour vet that I go to that's
you want to
local.
maintain that relationship.
That's local,
Okay.
and then I have another vet that I go to in severe emergencies,
Okay.
which is in Tampa.
Right.
So I would
Holy
have,
smoke! Tampa's
Yes.
a long way away.
yes, I would have, because and that's real emergencies. Like
Okay.
if the place that I go to
People in
winter,
Manhattan just had cardiac arrest.
Sorry.
They hop
don't
in the
wanna know-
plane
you
and
don't-
fly to Tampa.
You don't want to know how much my vet bills are. Anyway.
No, but okay. I'm sorry. Go on.
Anyway,
So you have your vets. Your vets are one of the
yeah,
core.
and then it would have to be the layout of the house would have to be very similar to the one that I'm currently living in, because that's what the cats are familiar with,
Right.
and because Manny and Gandalf, blindness is not uncommon for
What do you mean
animals.
blindness?
Blindness is not uncommon for animals after seizures. My cat Gandalf had a seizure a couple days ago,
Right.
and I had to give him, to calm him down after the seizure, I have to give him an anti-anxiety drug called clonazepam.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember.
That's what started on
That's
this.
what this started
So-
off. An anti-anxiety for the cat.
Yes. So
Some people
he
just
gets-
jumped out a window.
he
Just so
gets-
you know.
He has anti-seizure medication that he takes, which is probably how which helps keep but when he's going to have one, he's going to have one. And
Okay.
if something sets him off, like a big thunderbolt will set him
Okay.
off, then it's, all hell breaks loose. So you have to calm him down with the clonazepam, and that stays in the system for about 36 to 48 hours.
Okay.
And he becomes, after seizures, he becomes blind. So he walks around.
Blind?
Yeah. So he walks around the house using ears, smell, and his whiskers.
Okay.
And then he meows
Right.
and he meows loud because he can't see, and he needs to know where mom is
Now,
at.
I gotta ask you a question. I have to ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
How can you tell he can't see?
When he'll walk into a table leg.
Okay.
And
Which
what
is
he
not
does,
whiskers. Okay.
And he'll walk closer than what he should until the whiskers touch it,
Okay.
and then you see him startle,
Okay. Great.
back up,
That lets you know. Yeah.
and then walk around. And then the other thing is when I hold him, I can put my finger up to him, and he'll flinch normally.
Okay.
And as long as I don't touch the whiskers, he usually
can't
doesn't
tell
flinch.
it's there.
Yeah, he doesn't unless he smells something. So, but he just meows for the last 2 days, nonstop. He just meows, and it's this loud bellowing, almost. Yeah, it's just like meow, meow, and he does it all day and all night. So
Jesus,
I
how can
probably
you
have
stand
had
that?
about 6 to 8 hours in total in the last 2 nights. So just this afternoon, he stopped meowing, which means that the medicine is leaving his system.
Okay. And he can see?
And maybe he
Right.
can see. Blindness is it's usually temporary,
Temporary,
but
right.
its length is unknown.
Is it caused by the medicine?
It's caused by the seizures.
Okay.
It's not uncommon after seizures for animals to be temporarily blind. So, yeah.
Now tell me, because this is where we really started, which I was not prepared for to hear about anxiety medicine for an animal. Talk to me about this. How do you? I mean, listen. You don't have a shrink you go to, so you have to do
No.
the shrink work yourself.
Yeah, it's when it's.
How can you
simple-
tell that an animal is having anxiety?
It's simple thing. It's just based on their behavior. One thing that Gandalf used to do. Gandalf has always had a high anxiety issue.
Okay.
One thing that he
She
used
does
to
not
do,
mean me. Okay.
No, not Gandalf.
She means the
either. It's
cat.
The cat, my cat
Okay,
Gandalf.
very
One thing that Gandalf used to do is he would pee on things,
Oh no.
and he just would, and he didn't have urinary infections. it was just by process of elimination. When cats don't use the litter box, and when they urinate outside the litter box, if they're not neutered, they're marking their territory. That's what they do.
Okay.
If they are neutered,
Okay.
there's possibly a urinary tract infection or
Right.
something, which is their sign of saying,
Okay.
I'm in pain, I need help.
And they
please
want to
help.
let you know.
Yeah, that's their way. So he would go outside the litter box all the time. And I would take him to the doctor, we'd run tests, and there'd maybe be a slight increase of something or a slight decrease, and so we'd do some medication, but the problem never really went away. So after a while, the vet said, let's try this, because sometimes after we've eliminated all these other possibilities,
Right.
sometimes cats have almost like a separation anxiety.
Okay. Stress.
Stress, yeah.
Okay.
And what would happen is I would,
Stress is a killer.
well,
babe.
he wouldn't do it when I wasn't home, but he had actually urinated on me 3 times.
Princess.
Yeah, but it was, you have to think in the mind of a cat. He didn't like that I was leaving and coming home. He was marking me. I was his territory.
Oh, I got you.
So once after that 3rd time that had
Having
happened,
kids was patience.
yeah, after that 3rd time, I was like, there's got to be something, and she's like, let's try these anti-anxiety pills.
Right.
So I gave them to Gandalf, and that changed they changed the entire atmosphere of the house.
Really?
Because he was calmer.
Right.
And so everybody else calmed down and the whole house relaxed. Now that he's got these seizures, which in retrospect, all of the times that he was urinating and misbehaving and a little out there could have been him having very, very mild seizures and him
Okay.
reacting to not knowing what his body's doing.
Right.
So, but to calm down, just like if you ask anybody who has seizures,
Right.
they'll usually take some sort of anti-seizure medication,
Right.
and then they have a secondary emergency medication,
Okay.
which is like an anti-anxiety drug,
Okay.
which just immediately relaxes them.
Right.
So they
That's
can.
the one I need.
Yeah. So they can
Sorry.
So they can just calm down from the seizure because
Okay.
it's a very stressful moment
Now,
for them.
are we suggesting now that whether it's, and this is just talk,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I'm not expecting you to give me a doctor's diagnosis,
I'm pretty
but
good
it
at that. I've
sounds,
seen a lot
I
of
can
them.
tell, it sounds like that seizures are much more often than we might realize related to stress rather than, in other words, it seems like seizures can be related to stress and anxiety in a life more than a physical problem.
It could be. It could be. Sometimes there are seizures brought on by stress.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, in Gandalf's case, we have no medical reason for them to start showing up. All the tests have come back as normal behavior. So we really don't know why he's getting them,
Right.
which is very frustrating.
Now, this is now most people, I'm not speaking from a generic point of view, most people when they hear about, what were you calling them when they have the problem? What is it called?
FIP, fever,
No.
leukemia, seizures,
No.
idiopathic
Seizures. That's the word.
epilepsy. Okay, seizures.
Most
No more
people
contours
associate
for you.
seizures with epilepsy.
Uh-huh.
Now, epilepsy, that's a physical problem?
Epilepsy in humans is a physical problem where there's a disconnect in something in the brain,
Okay.
and your body reacts by having these seizures. Sometimes they're full blown out. What they call grand mal seizures is the full shaking and stuff and
Mhm.
loss of body control. Sometimes they'll just sit and stare off into space or whatever. It varies, and it's fairly. I would say, I guess it's fairly easy to diagnose.
Okay. But that's more of a
in
physical thing than a
humans-
stress thing.
Yeah, in humans it's easier to diagnose. In animals, it's
And you can
harder.
talk to humans.
Yeah, in animals it's harder to diagnose. So unless there's a physical, medical reason, such as a disease that is known to trigger seizures,
Right.
or head trauma, it's hard to diagnose it.
I have to say one thing. The cats that are with you have been blessed. It's like we work at a place that shall remain nameless, and there are animals there some that come on their own volition, some that are there as a part of what we do. The ones that come of their own volition don't leave. They have
they
come,
like it.
they stay, and are
Well,
you crazy?
what do
Why
you-
would they leave?
It's like free room getting bored.
Yes,
I
yes.
wouldn't leave if I was them.
And we have, and can I share with you that we have the smartest ducks in the world. We have ducks where I work. And there's
They are
fencing,
very smart.
okay? These ducks can leave the fencing anytime they want. But these ducks are so smart, they know that if they stay on this side of the fence and look like zoo animals, people will give them stuff. And I have watched them play the role of zoo animals to get popcorn and stuff. But when I come in the morning, they're flying all over the place. I mean, they're totally free. They could leave any time they want. But they ain't no fools.
I talk to them too. I talk to the ducks.
Oh, me too. Sure,
I
you
talk
have
to
to.
the squirrels. I have every Sunday morning. I have my squirrel Fred. I watch him run down the rail, and he runs across back and forth. And I tell him, like, Fred, you got 5 minutes. We're gonna open soon. There'll be a lot of people here. You're gonna want to go and get your nuts and head back home because you know what's gonna happen. And then there's the bunny, George or Georgine. I don't
And
know
you
his
probably
name.
really have them. They probably really come for you because you are definitely in tune. I mean, you're Snow White. You know what I mean? You could put your little finger out, and the birds would probably land on you.
could.
You know, listen. Seeing as we've talked so much about. I mean, see this? This is a teddy bear
It is.
that I have had on my nightstand or headboard for a few years. Excuse me. But I never slept with him. So he was never a teddy bear. He was just a little bear that sat in the corner. And the other day I looked up at him and I thought, you know,
He looks sad because you don't love him.
he's not had a chance to be a teddy bear.
No.
So at 62 years old,
Did you sleep with him?
I'm sleeping I'm sleeping with him now. I'm
sleep-
giving him a few weeks of teddy bear time.
Good.
Because until a stuffed animal sleeps, he's not really a teddy bear. He's just a little bear. He was a little.
I sleep with stuffed animals.
Do
too.
you?
I do.
Well, you know
I
that.
have to though. I have to because the way I sleep, I'll curl my hand up like this,
Right.
and I literally. So
That's
I get
too much.
cramp here, and I'll
Okay.
wake up in the morning and I cramp.
Right.
So if I have a
A
teddy bear,
teddy bear in there.
or I use a teddy bear because it's cute, but I
Right.
could use a pillow or a human or whatever.
Right,
but if
right.
I don't have something to grip, I end up with arm cramps.
Well, you
Cat.
can.
Every once in a while, I wake up and there'll be a cat
Cat.
meowing, and
Right. Well, you
I have
can-
claws on my chest because the cat's like, "Let me out."
You can tell that. What's her name? Has never gone without anything. What's time? Oh, we have to go. We want to be disciplined. Okay. Next week, I'm going to give you. We're going to talk just a little bit about a movie called The Undefeated, but we can't talk about it yet because Tink hasn't seen it. Once Angel has seen The Undefeated, then we will come back and she will give us her perspective as a tried and true person on the other side of the chair, and mine. But until then,
Do something good a little bit every day. Go volunteer at an animal shelter because there's lots of animals out there that need lots of love and they
isn't
don't get
that
it
sweet?
anywhere else.
Isn't she a sweet lady? She's a sweet.
I don't volunteer at the animal shelter.
You don't have to. You have an animal shelter at home.
Because I would want to take them all home.
No, see.